In today's video I wanted to talk about some books because since we're all being quarantined, it's great time for reading. And what I wanted to address specifically in this video is books that are, I personally think, easier to read. So like rather for people that are not like within the book community or don't usually read that much. So if you read a lot and you watch a lot of booktube videos and just in general know loads of books, the recommendations I'm giving are probably not for you because you might have heard of all of them already or even read them. Alright, so the easiest books to read in my opinion are contemporary books because they and like teen romance books, because I don't know, they're just like really fast paced and you don't have to pay lots of attention, so it's just like you can just read them really quickly and easy, and they're still loads of fun. So what I will recommend firstly is basically every book by Casey West. I don't know, she just writes like really fast paced, I think, and fun, and I think the characters are mostly likable. Personally, I think her best books are The Distance Between Us and By Your Side. They are both boy meets girl, or girl meets boy rather, books. Like all of her books, I think. Like all of those that I just showed you. So personally those two are the ones that I enjoyed the most. But like a while ago, I think I read this one when I was like 15 or 16. I'm 19 now. And this maybe when I was 17. But yeah, so if you're at that age, I would definitely recommend them. I don't know if you're like my age, if I would still enjoy them, probably, because I still like to read a quick, fast-paced romance every now and then. So basically, I'm not going to give away too much of the plot because I think for most romance contemporary books that just kind of gives away way too much. But like basically, this is about a 17-year-old girl that grew up in under rather poor circumstances, and she meets this rich boy, and yeah, but their societies, I don't know if you can say, that kind of hate each other, and like her mom also hates the rich people, so it's like a bit difficult for them. Yeah, really fun actually. And this one is also kind of cool. This one, it also kind of deals with like being like quarantined in a way, because it's about a, I don't know, I suppose also it's like 16 year old girl that is being trapped in a library over the weekend by accident, and she thinks she's all alone, but she's not. She's being trapped with another guy. I thought this one was really enjoyable too. So those are the books I would definitely recommend if you like teen romance. And the next one would be On the Fence. So it's just about a boy and a girl that live next to each other, and they just talk through a fence, and it's kind of fun too. My next two books are actually also by the same author, Becky Albertelli. She is also the author that wrote Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda, which I think everyone knows because of the movie Love, Simon, which is one of my absolute all-time favorite movies. I just love Simon as a character. I think he's really great. So if you want to stay in that universe and you didn't know that there was like a spin-off, I think it's what this would be called, definitely recommend Leah on the Offbeat. So Leah is bisexual, so it's kind of about her navigating through school and her sexuality, discovering it. Sorry if I'm horrible at explaining books, I've never really done this before. I'm trying my best, I swear. Really like this one. I did like Simon a lot more, just because it's a great book and movie, I think, but this one was still really enjoyable. Would definitely recommend. My second favorite book by Becky Albertelli would definitely have to be The Upside of Unrequited. It seems like the author really likes to represent queer people, which I think is great. I love reading about that. So this is about Molly, who I suppose, yeah, she's also 17. Yeah, it's basically about her having had 26 crushes, but never really being brave enough to actually do anything about it, and just thinking about them, fantasizing about them in her head. And she also has her sister, who is like really outgoing and also always tells her to like actually act on her feelings, if that's how you can say it, and just talk to the boys. But since she's shy, she doesn't do that. And in this book, it's about her actually meeting someone that she likes. Yeah. So again, another girl meets boy book, but I think this one is really, I remember it being quite funny and the characters also being really likable. And another book that I'm actually reading right now, I'm like halfway through. I started reading it yesterday, and this is why I decided to include it in this video even though I'm not done, because this is just so great. Like, I'm loving this book, and I hope it doesn't get any worse, but I've heard good reviews about it. So it's Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. It's about this girl named Frances, who I think is 18. She has really good grades and she aspires to go into Cambridge. She always has straight A's, she's head girl. So everything about her life seems to be about school, and that's what everyone thinks about her. And she has this friend group that like she gets along with, but they're not really the same in terms of interests. And I think this is a really good book that focuses on friendship and staying like true to yourself, kind of. Realizing that it's better to actually be surrounded by people that share the same interests as you, and not trying to fit into any other kind of group. And I think, again, all those characters are really likable. The plot's also really great. It's about, there's also this podcast on YouTube that she really likes to listen to, her little secret that she doesn't want anyone to know about. Really loving this book so far. I hope it only gets better, and would definitely so far recommend this. My last contemporary book is Since You've Been Gone by Martian, but I don't actually have it with me right now, so here's a picture of it. I borrowed it to my friend. It's a great summer read, so like you can obviously read it outside of summer, but it really gives you those summer vibes, because it's about that girl that's also really shy and not outgoing at all, hates talking to strangers and everything that has to do with not being an introvert, which I could absolutely relate to. She has a best friend that's the total opposite of her. She's quirky, she's outgoing, she's fun, she loves talking to strangers. But over the summer she just disappears, and all that she leaves her introverted friend behind is a list of things that she tells her to do. And so basically the whole book follows her doing those things that are really outside of her comfort zone. The next book is a mystery book that I have seen only like once on BookTube, I think, before. It's Those We Were For by Alexandra Sirovi. This is actually also a teen book, I think. I know they might be around the age of 17 as well, or 16, I don't know. But it's about those 4 friends that are building a secret society with like rituals and blood sacrifices and all that kind of stuff. And there's also the mystery of a dead girl being included. It's not a spoiler, it says that on the back. The secret society kind of is being talked about more, and other people want to come in, and I don't really want to give away much more, but I thought this was really good, really enjoyable, and was like kind of my first mystery book. So if you want to dive into that genre without leaving too much of what you might already know, would definitely recommend this book. Staying kind of within the theme of mystery, but also diving over to science fiction a bit. We have Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which is a very well-known book within the book community, but I don't think I've ever met anyone that has read this book like in real life. So this is actually an adult book, and I think it was also my first adult book. I thought it might be like kind of more heavy and difficult to read, but it was great. Like, I read this in like 3 to 4 days on vacation, so I didn't really have that much time. What's interesting about this book is that it focuses on the villain, so the main character is evil, and he's like not trying to hide that or anything, he's just plain evil. It's about people with supernatural powers. They are not born with them, so it's like Spider-Man is being bit by a spider and he wasn't born with his abilities, and I think the characters are really well rounded and the plot is well thought through. Okay, and this one, hear me out. It's The Martian by Andy Weir. I feel like many people have watched the film, which is great because it's an amazing film. But I think not that many have actually read the book. And if you have already watched the film and you don't want to read the book now, don't worry, I watched the film first too and then read the book. And I still really enjoyed the book. So you might already know what it's about, but I swear it's really funny and there's a lot of science being explained, but you don't have to understand it to follow the plot. I didn't understand it either and still really enjoyed this. So like really quick, if you like the film and might have considered reading the book or even not, I would definitely pick it up. It's a great book, and I mean he's also being quarantined kind of on Mars, so relatable. Scythe by Neil Schusterman, which is also one of my all-time favorite books. Like if I were to recommend one book which I think has a great plot, it would have to be this one because it has a great plot. I'm trying not to go too far with explaining, but it's basically our world, but many years into the future, where science has reached its peak and has actually gotten so far that people can't die anymore. So to make sure that the world is not being overpopulated, you have those scythes, which are basically death bringers. So they make sure that there are not too many people and they just kill others. But it's their job, so they are being really respected by the whole society. They are an important part of society. That's basically what I'm going to say. It's a great book. I love it. It's amazing. And there are 3 parts of this book, I think. Every book I showed you so far I think is a standalone except for Vicious. There's one other book and I think there's another one being written. I'm not sure about that though, I only have read the first book. But Scythe is a completed trilogy and I think all of the books are amazing. Another heavier science fiction book is Recursion by Blake Crouch, which I don't have here with me either because I also borrowed it to a friend. For this one I'm being really careful not to give away too much from the plot, but it's basically about memories. I think personally it's kind of Inception style and it's really well written. It's complex but not too complex that you wouldn't be able to follow it, which is why I'm including this, because I read this really quickly and I think it's great. It's a real page turner. So if you want to read a good science fiction book, I would definitely recommend this. I think it's a great starter book for science fiction. Now if you want to dive in more into the fantasy universe, personally I think high fantasy is one of the heaviest genres to read. So like personally they take me the longest because they are also really thick books and there's a lot of world building going on and you have to pay really close attention. But I have 2 books that are high fantasy and that I think are still fairly easy to read and still lots of fun. So first off is Furthermore by Tahiri Mafi. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I don't know if this classifies as high fantasy, but it's definitely loads of fantasy being involved, but it is a middle grade book. So maybe if you like Harry Potter, I suppose you would really like this one too. So it's set in this crazy, colourful world that's all about colours. And the main character is, as you can see here, she's like completely not coloured. That sounds kind of weird, but like she's completely white and everything around her is full of colours. And she's on her quest to find her dad because her dad has disappeared. I actually don't remember what happened to him, but she's trying to find him. This book is all about the world building, at least that's what it seemed like to me. I'm usually kind of not that into world building because I think it's really complex and I just rather follow the plot and the characters. But in this book I think the world has been built very well and I think the character is really fun and likable as well. My last book, which is actually a high fantasy book that is kind of set in like the earlier ages, and as it also says right here, perfect for fans of Game of Thrones, which I totally am. So it's Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, and it's about those 3 very different kingdoms that are at war with each other. There's this really interesting magical aspect which kind of deals with elements. and I think that the characters are really well done. Again, not trying to give away too much. But if you want to dive into high fantasy, I think this is a great book for starters, because it's again complex, but not so complex that it's difficult. Kind of the theme here. So if you want to try out some high fantasy, I think this is a good book. Okay, so that was it. About 10 to 15, I don't even know, books that I recommend if you want to start reading during quarantine. I think reading is great. It's a great pastime activity. I've done it my whole entire life. I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you very much for watching. I'm planning on doing way more videos now. And yeah, see you again. Bye bye.